I do like it. It's a good one. All right, then. So we've got papers, but first, let's do our Drive Safe campaign, shall we?
Yes, and it's brought to us by Joy News and Multimedia Group, supported by Toyota Ghana Company Limited. Toyota, superior quality. Avoid all distractions. Keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel. That's how to ensure your safe arrival. And when you safely arrive, please make time to check out our Drive Safe campaign on Instagram. You'd see videos of how road accidents are taking lives.
Well, let's learn how to say it right. Brought to us by Koba Payment App. Koba, our lives simplified, and Kingdom Books at Kingdom. Quality and affordability is our hallmark.
Something must be done.
Now, I know we've talked about this one, but I keep hearing it. Be rest assured. I'm sure you've noticed people saying it too, haven't you? The correct expression is rest assured, as in you can rest assured that the problem will be solved. You see, saying rest assured is just like saying sleep tight or walk tall. Now, you wouldn't say be sleep tight or be walk tall, would you? Rest assured that you would be laughed at if you did. Now, you could say be assured or be sure. That is also correct. So can I now be assured that you will say it right from now on? And it's not be say it right, or be run fast, or be stand still, or be stay strong. There you go. That's another one that we keep hearing. All right, time for the papers. What's in them?
Oh, rest assured. We'll say it right. Okay, let's start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, 2 quack doctors busted over fraud and illegal abortion. Details of that story on page 3. It says that they, usually would charge 1,000 and 2,000 Ghana cedis from some foreign medical student who want to sit for the Dental Council's pre-registration assessment examination. So apart from carrying themselves as doctors, they also would tell their victims that they have links within the Medical and Dental Council and that they could get them the examination papers.
Wow.
So that's...
They diversified their criminal portfolio.
So the 2 men are on the front page of the paper, Samuel Owusu and Bright Affle. And then 5 car snatchers arrested in Tamale. One of them, according to the story, carries himself as a military officer. He's usually dressed in the military uniform. They were arrested on Sunday by the police in Tamale in the northern region. PFAG, that's the Peasant Farmers Association, are pushing for implementation of benchmark discount policy reversal. Raymond looks really good this morning.
Yes. He every now and then he surprises me.
Okay, so on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, one more suspect in the Nima Mamubi youth gang clashes arrested. That's good news, but the 2 main guys are still on the run. And on the back page of the paper, Gambia stunned Guinea into AFCON quarter final. Did you watch the Commons game?
Well, I watched bits and pieces of it. I think I watched, when I got home, it was the second half, so I watched the goal. I also watched the Cameroon and Comoros Island, and I thought Comoros really did very well.
They're a good side.
Look, yes, we've talked about how they beat Ghana because we're playing with 10 players. But they actually played with 10 players against, Cameroon too. And they played very well.
Yeah.
They didn't have a goalkeeper. They had, their left fullback as the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And he did well.
Absolutely.
In fact, some say he's better than the Ghana's goalkeeper. Let me get into
Shots fired.
No, let me get into the daily graphic for this morning. Yeah, of course. Apiati tragedy, a company that hauled explosives closed down. So we know that Maxam actually outsourced it to another company, and that company has been closed down. Parliament resumes today. E-levy top on agenda. And there are a lot of stories about the e-levy we'll be finding out shortly. And the Ghana Gas Company triples gas production from 90 million standard cubic meters to 300 million So it was 90 million in 2016 to 300 million in 2020. And the Ghana Gas Company has been talking about, with the levels they've reached now, they want to expand to the central part of the country. They've also talked about extending, their pipelines into La Côte d'Ivoire and probably urging government to reduce the current agreement that we have with Nigeria because of the levels that we've reached. Also on the front page, 10 die in Savelugu Walewale Highway accident. That's why it's important that as we drive, we must be very, very careful. Indeed. 6-member car snatching gang busted in Tamale. And so this particular incident, there's one who was in a military from the Ghana Armed Forces has come out, issued a statement to say that is not a military person. And so they are saying that they're going to be liaising with the police to look out for those who have been wearing military uniforms and pretending to be military men.
Lots of impersonation.
Impersonation, yeah. Gambia stunned Guinea to storm quarters, and Senegal, Cape Verde squared off today. So Senegal was squared off with Cape Verde. And then later on, I think tomorrow, so Egypt will be taking on Ivory Coast. I mean, that's a cracker of a match.
Listen, just a quick one on this story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Do we not recall the police issuing a statement not so long ago to say that from now on they will not publish
the faces of suspects?
Yeah, but this one is blazoned on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. I think somebody may not have got the memo at the Ghana police, because these people have been arrested and are in the custody of police.
Yeah, you've just reminded me. It means that they were showcased.
Yes.
For the cameras. But then we also have a responsibility, don't we, as media houses? Police can do it, but...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The police, though, are the ones who would have showcased them since they are in handcuffs in these pictures. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose it's just a reminder to them that they have made a promise not to do that. It seems that some of them have not yet got that.
Let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper. Policewoman, 3 others killed in Boko clashes. And this one sounds like fresh. This happened over the weekend. Now, it's unsure if she was targeted or if this was just an accident, but police is investigating this.
Such a sad story.
And then on the Apiatse tragedy, I didn't cause explosion, says the rider of that tricycle, Philip Mensah. And then Canada MP goes to Supreme Court again. The paper obviously referring to him as Canada MP, because remember that High Court in Cape Coast found that he was holding both Canadian and Ghanaian citizenship whilst filing to contest the 2020 parliamentary election, which he won on December 7.
So he's the MP for Canada.
Canada is in quotes, by the way. We know that he's appealing that decision at the Court of Appeal in Cape Coast, but there's also a matter of interpretation, Article 94(2)(a) of the 1992 Constitution, which they took to the Supreme Court, but Supreme Court said you didn't go through the proper processes, so go back and then come again if you may. That's exactly what they're doing now. Fiscal deficit widening, according to former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, and Parliament reconvenes today.
Right, let's get to the Business and Financial Times. International tourist arrivals to grow by 34.7%. 2022 growth prospects remain positive. Now, benchmark policy puts 100,000 jobs at risk in rice industry. So you know that the Peasant Farmers Association and the Rice Millers Association of Ghana and the General Agricultural Workers Union, now they've been petitioning government to take a second look at its decision not to reverse the benchmark policy reduction. They say that if that is not done, 100,000 jobs are at risk of being lost, particularly in the rice industry. And the reason is that, because many of these products, come into the country at a reduced cost, and the cost of production in the country is high, they face challenges in being able to match up the prices from those who import these products. And so they believe that the decision by government to initially reverse the benchmark reduction policy from the 4th of January was the best thing to have been done.
Isn't there perhaps a simpler solution rather than broadly reversing the benchmark value policy, why not simply add a targeted import substitution policy? So specific things would attract higher duty just to improve the chances of Ghanaian production.
So good. So the point is, the point is that because of the common external tariffs, the ECOWAS common external tariffs, you can't actually reduce your import duties. We have a common one, and it's the reason government, did the benchmark value reduction. So it was a nice way of actually making sure that the duties that you pay are reduced by not necessarily reducing import duties, but reducing the valuation of the product itself.
So can't we do that for specific things and reverse them for specific
That's
things?
what government has done. Government says we want to reverse it for 43 of the items.
Right.
Now, the 43 items that government wants to reverse the benchmark value reduction on is what Guta has been fighting. And AGI is in favor of it. And now the Peasant Farmers Association, Rice Millers Association of Ghana, and General Agricultural Workers Union are asking government to actually do what it intended to do, because it would go a long way in helping. The import substitution you talk about, it would go a long way in helping. One of the challenges we've had in this country, we know, is the cost of production. Look, and if we get into other stories, I'll share some figures with you, because we're talking about e-levy and we're talking about even giving out money to the private sector to grow. You would realize that over the period, 4 top banks in this country in 2021 actually gave out loans amounting to 630 million and gave out bonds to government amounting to 7.5 billion. So just imagine. Yes, because if I am a bank, the sensible thing to do is to go and give money to government, because I know that government will pay me back. Even if there's a change in government, I still would get my money. So you're expecting the private sector to grow, but unfortunately the kind of investment you expect in the private sector, you're not getting, because government is so not risky that people would deem it easy giving money to government. We'll come back to that particular story.
So many things mitigating against the success of private business. Yet the government strategy for solving unemployment is entrepreneurship.
We'll come back to this. We'll come back to that shortly. But be problem-solving graduates beyond your jobs. That's Ebenezer Chum Asante urging graduate. That's the MTN Group Vice President for West and Central Africa.
The Finder newspaper, front page, fair wages urges cooler heads over ongoing strike by worker unions. UTAG is still on strike. They say government make an acceptable offer and then we will go back to work. TECMA blames market uncertainties on e-levy benchmark values deadlock. Impact on e-levy on reducing public debt explained on page 9 in the paper. 6 communities get boreholes, toilet facilities from John Kuma, and Melcom donate to Apiatse victims and families. On page, this is page 13. You guys, of course, we can't remember the late Major Mahama, who was on duty at Dentra Obuase in the Central Region, who was allegedly, people mistook him allegedly for an armed robber and lynched him. The trial is ongoing. There's an update on it. Chief Inspector Samuel Ejakwa, let me pronounce the name right. Ejakwa, the investigator in the trial, was in court yesterday. You remember the assemblyman whose name came up strongly, Mr. William Baum. It was alleged that he mobilized the mob to attack the deceased. But he told the High Court in Accra that, no, that's his lawyer, and that, he asked people to follow him, accompany him, and did not instruct them to come with weapons. So details of that, if you want to catch up on what's happening with the trial, it's been adjourned to February 7 for further continuation.
Right, so the graphic businesses go to IMF for bailout, economic experts to government, but government says no. It's on the front page here. If you were government,
can you imagine?
You wouldn't say you want to go to the IMF.
Can you imagine?
Particularly when your vice presidential candidate prior to the 2016 elections, had organized lectures and said the way Ghana was going to go to the IMF. And when Ghana went to the IMF, at the time it was a campaign message that it was a sign of mismanagement of the economy. And then when Ghana got out of the IMF, you talked about how it was a sign of good management or prudent management of the economy. So you're faced with the
How are we doing with the fundamentals?
Well, I mean, the fundamentals are there for all
the
to
e-levy
see.
is now the fundamental.
And so if you look at, if you look at it, and I've been telling you about the fact that, in 2021, up from January to September, 4 banks gave 630 million in loans to the private sector and gave 7.5 billion Ghana cedis as bonds, as loans to government. So, these were government bonds that they invested in. And you're told of how government, Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma has been talking about how government would look at, the domestic market in borrowing. Of course, not all of it would come. You could have some private persons coming in to actually, buy bonds also. But the banks would also buy these bonds. It enables the banks to make a lot of profit. And when you do that, it affects investment in the private sector. And so the growth you expect in the private sector, for the private sector to be able to even employ others, is not there. Now, we've told you that research indicates that between 70, some put it at 70, some put it at 80, so 60 to 80% of new jobs are created by existing companies. And you would understand why the consistent entrepreneurial drive by government is not yielding the desired results. Because one of the things you can do is to look out for companies that are already doing well, assist them. And you've seen even with a one district, one factory, government realizing that and providing technical and financial support to existing companies, because the plan is that these persons are already in business. We've talked about how about 75% of startups fail in this country. So if you're asking people to start up, you know that 75% of it, all things being equal, are likely to fail. Why don't you go in and invest in entities that are already existing? They could create subsidiaries, and because they are already existing companies, they will be able to, create new jobs. I think the problem we have in this country most of the time is that we like the numbers. We engage in, I have given 10,000 people loans to start with jobs.
Impacts.
10,000 people loans to, trade and all of that. We don't come back to find out whether those 10,000 people actually, thrived or not. We'll just go around again, throw these figures out, and come back and say, oh, we saved this number of jobs.
Because it looks good on paper.
But I think you're being polite. It's not that government likes numbers. It's just that governments, successive governments, have not yet committed to solving problems. That's not yet their goal. Their goal is still to look good and win elections. If they wanted to solve problems, they wouldn't stop at the numbers. They would go further and see whether the people behind these numbers have actually had their lives changed. Because if they haven't, you've wasted money. But we don't think about it that way. And also, you make this important point about what will happen once government becomes a bit more dependent on the local market for loans. Because essentially, you are going to crowd out, like you said, all those who would benefit from facilities and be able to create jobs. And we'll come back and talk a bit more about this, because there's a point to be made about whether government's credit rating locally has also taken a beating. But let's do the one more.
Yes, just
paper,
one more.
and then
This
we'll do
is
the online review.
rather very disturbing. This is the Economy Times. Some workers of the Ghana Health Service are cashing in through the sale of COVID-19 vaccine cards to some Ghanaians who have declined to take the mandatory jab.
What?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep.
So is there no limit to what people would do to personally benefit at
Apparently
to the
not.
detriment of the rest of society?
Apparently not. So instead of educating and telling you about the benefits of taking the jab, they rather would take money and give you the card. That's proof that you've taken
So
the
these
vaccine.
people are at risk to themselves and to others, and these people are pocketing cash for it.
And they're charging between 300 Ghana cedis to 600 cedis per card.
Cry the beloved country.
So
no.
what becomes of the exercise?
These are not
Useless,
citizens,
really.
Mama V. These are not citizens. Anyway, we will have to talk a bit more about this. Wow. All right, the online review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest, Goyle Good Energy, and Enterprise Life. No matter how much you make for a living, Enterprise Life has life solutions carefully crafted for you. Enterprise Life, your advantage.
Now, insure Nafili with Enterprise Insurance. Get free fuel coupons when you insure your motor vehicle with Enterprise Insurance. Renew your existing policy or buy a new motor insurance policy from Enterprise and get sorted with free fuel coupons and exciting souvenirs. Don't be left out. Let Enterprise insure your vehicle during the season of giveaways. Call your insurance broker or agent or reach Enterprise on 0302 634 777. You can also download the Enterprise Advantage app on Play Store or App Store to purchase or renew your policy. Terms and conditions apply. Enterprise, your advantage.
And Goal has good news for you because Goal is rewarding its prepaying Go card customers with 2 pesos discount per liter on fuels. You also enjoy discount on lubricants at Goal stations nationwide. So elevate your goodness by joining Goal Go Club today and enjoy up to 3 pesos per liter discount on fuel. Amazing discount on lubricant purchases. Free life insurance cover provided by My Life Insurance. Accrue and contribute loyalty points to a social group to fund an approved CSR project. And above all, enjoy exclusive Goal branded campaign gifts. Join the Goal Club by visiting Goal stations or offices, Goal website registration.goal.com.gh, and all Goal social media platforms. Goal Good Energy, Goal, yeah, yedim.
All right, you can go to myjoyonline.com and check out the headlines there. Some very interesting ones this morning. But right now, though, it's time for the BBC News, brought to us by Fidelity Bank, Believe With Us, and Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.
Enterprise alive and see we are moving. Aye, we are cruising. Forward from Enterprise Live. Jam, I want some more.